it's almost a meme at this point of the people who comment on things about Pokemon, like, you put that much money into cardboard. It's like, that's like a thing that you see everywhere.
Yeah, JPEGs. Yeah.
And you see that same comment on, that's just code, or that's just a JPEG. Jewelry are rocks. Gold is metal. Money is paper. What other stores of values? I mean, it's all nothing. It's all
wheels are fucking made of cement.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Wait, sorry, that's just gonna be confusing if I don't clarify that.
Yeah, wait, what?
Sorry,
I'm so wrapped up in my own genius thought.
Sorry, you finish.
Wheels of what? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I am Damaged Cards. You might notice that there's a little wet spot right here. I did not pee my pants, even though I'm so nervous. I'm just so out of my skin nervous because today you might notice CharizardBaba's not here. What am I going to do? What am I going to do by myself? Never fear. We have a replacement for the day. Sky King, everybody. Everybody cheer for Sky. There's a huge audience back there freaking out. Guys, you might recognize Sky and my faces together because we've had a little bit of a pop recently. I went on his, but by the way, Sky, hello, nice to meet you. Say hi, everybody, Sky. Okay,
what's
great.
Up, guys?
Hey, okay. We'll get into Sky in a second, but
don't get too deep in me, bro.
I'm gonna go very deep. I mean, I'm already wet. I'm already primed and ready to rock. But I was on your podcast, Sky King's Mental Playground. We talked Pokemon, we talked One Piece, and I had a hot little take that our little editor here, JJ, not little editor, he's a big guy. He's a strong man. Clipped about One Piece, my hot take. So here's my take on One Piece. I'm not a One Piece expert. I've never even seen the anime. I don't even know the cards super well. I know trading cards, just not that one. The secondary market numbers on One Piece are crazy. They're very big. And I said earlier, there's people who value the cards and there's people who value the people who value the cards. Yeah. Went a little viral. And, we saw the good side of the internet. And we saw the bad side of the internet. We had some people throw some hate. We had some people stitch it and leave nasty comments that I did my best to provide clapbacks to. What was your experience going through this?
So the only thing that matters to me in this scenario is my best friend, Zach Mahone. Him and I have been reading One Piece since we were children, and he is the One Piece god to me. And I sent him that clip, and he was like, he's so fucking right. And he is the deepest on the Reddit, the deepest on the threads. It is his life is One Piece, and he was like, Morgan is so right.
Fuck yes.
That makes me feel that's good. The thing that matters to me.
One real life comment from like a person who knows what they're talking about versus roughly 10,000 negative comments, definitely it outweighs. I like the real life comment much more. But we are the Cardmen podcast. I didn't even say that. We talk Pokemon, trading card business, and entrepreneurship and life and whatever. And you are a business person, so I wanted to you have a lot of knowledge about a lot of topics that I think the people watching this are going to like big time. But let's just give a little bit of a setup as to who you are. First of all, not only do you have that podcast, which is in the next room over, you're also the owner of this studio. We are in your physical playground. Your podcast is the mental playground. This is the physical playground. I'm a joke guy. And you also run a podcast sponsorship company. Is that what? Can you explain Modern Stoa?
Yeah, so basically we call ourselves a monetization agency. The reason being is mostly we do sponsorship and ads and partners, but like I do believe if we can decrease the influence of advertising and media, we'll have more sincerity. And so I like to also monetize content in different ways.
Interesting. Have you noticed that the successful businesses that you've worked with or just seen from afar are in the niches? We talk in this podcast a lot about, like, we're literally talking about Pokemon. It's a pretty niche situation. Have you noticed that is true in your world as well?
No. So it was a really big thing in like the 2010s, I would say, to like go into your niche, go into your niche, go into your niche. And I think you guys have done well. And this isn't a comment on what you're doing. But I think if you really want to build a very good podcast, it's actually more about the human aspect of it, because you can get short form all day, which is like, will be niche down to the specific viewers. Like the One Piece people came out for our clip. But if you actually want to build a human following to really listen to you, you have to be more dynamic and actually be more broad. So what I focus on and what a lot of the creators we focus on is what is the through line between all of your interests, which is like your unique angle. So like Tim Ferriss, who also records here, he would be, I deconstruct and analyze top performers to try and break down how you can apply the habits to your own life. And so he does that across, tons of different topics. Rogan, it's like, it's going to be a casual conversation, going to be entertaining, you're going to learn something. But again, he rotates through basically 6 topics. And so I like people to choose 6 because it's expansive enough, not like, what are your favorite 3 things?
Yeah.
But it's like we're humans, and especially the more AI we go, the more we actually need to focus on the human aspect of it. So again, I think that what you guys are doing is awesome. Obviously, the business is working, and it fucking rules. Can I cuss? Sorry.
You can totally fucking cuss, dude.
In that
I'm super
rules.
cool, by the way.
But I think that, like, you know, as you start to, I know you're cool as shit, dude.
Yeah, I'm a very cool guy. I'm cool with cursing and stuff like that. Yeah, very cool.
Very cool. But no, as you start to, you know, expand and build out your personal brand, it really matters to de-niche in a way. Like, you can be a subject matter expert on this, but like where your curiosities go is how you build from. I'm going to for Pokemon content. Again, I think from the business perspective, this makes sense for what you're doing.
Yeah.
But if you want to build out the personal brand, you actually have to be like, what are the things that I'm most interested in? So you're doing 75 hard right now.
Yes.
That's a huge fucking community. That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So like you can like not niche down, but like you just more Morgan it. And it's now, what are the Pokemon people who are also interested in getting better, who are also willing to commit to something hard outside of it? And it's like, okay, cool. So you took this audience that was here for Cardmen.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh shit, actually Morgan's doing this really hard thing. He's done it before. I'm going to kind of follow on. Maybe I'm inspired to do that. And now you change their life. And now you fucking run their life.
Now, okay, this is interesting. Let's say Cardman Podcast it was Pokemon, now we're a little more trading card. Let's say, you know, trading card business. That's pretty niche.
Yeah.
Would you say that the expanse that you're talking about would happen within podcast? Or no, it could be like another piece of content, another business or something like that? Or is it smart to do it within your vehicle?
Podcasting is the absolute best place to do it. And the reason is because people who actually come and listen, if you're doing, you know, 2 hours a week, 1 hour a week, you're spending more time with them than they're spending with their best friend probably for most people's lives. So that's where you can actually start to spread your natural dynamic of who you are. And that's where you go from this is an informational thing to this is edutainment. Like, I am connected to this person. And like, when I think about podcasting, the whole goal is to build a jihad is what I would call it. I'm a huge Dune fan. This isn't a Middle East thing. It's a Dune reference.
Okay, yeah.
But like,
make sure you keep that in the clip. He says that it's not a Middle East. Don't cut that part out.
But no, you're trying to build a jihad. Like, people who they love you so much because you spend the most time with them. And that is the true value of the audio experience of podcasting. Again, most podcasts now become just short form mechanisms, which is fine.
Sure.
And like, I think that's great for you guys and like what you're doing. But if you really want to build the diehards, it's through this interaction because they don't get it anywhere else. Like, this is a very natural thing. Like, we're friends. We're just like casually talking. You're asking me questions, so I'm answering them. But especially because AI is going to make the access to information free and infinite in however they want it. The only thing that's going to matter in the future is vibes.
Sure, yeah. I mean, everyone's going to be able to get every answer about business or Pokemon or whatever that they kind of want.
But they want to spend time with us. That's the key. And so what podcasting, specifically the actual audio format and the video format, is a very long-term game because you're building these people that want to spend time with you. That's what they're doing. How do they spend their time? It's with you.
I listened to, it was Alex Ramosi, and he was talking about school, his school, SK. Yeah, exactly. And he said that there is kind of inherently a problem with it, that once people learn, they leave. Like, once you finish college, you leave college. You know, you don't stick around. Because Cardmen is about Pokemon business or trading card business, there is probably a saturation point as to what one could learn outside of eventually you just kind of keep around for like the current events of it all. But it would seem as if a natural progression would sort of need to happen for us over time, and as people get to know us and like us, that it probably would have to expand beyond you know, the ins and outs of small time, you know, online e-commerce business. Luckily, we are branded as Cardmen, and that can be, you know, and also entrepreneurship is a big enough vehicle to go, you know, the life of an entrepreneur, the relationships of an entrepreneur, the day-to-day. Like, you can go, tell me if I'm wrong, I imagine you could go pretty broad, you know, within that. Are you saying it needs to be broader beyond that? Like, we should outgrow some sort of branding like that eventually.
So if we're talking 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 year, 50 year, right? So if we're just talking 1 year, I think you guys are doing it perfectly for what you're building. It's obviously working. Keep doing what you're doing.
Sure.
The way I view the podcast is actually it increases the value, right? So like when LP goes and fucking opens a pack, because his viewership has been so consumed with all of his other stuff, it makes it more memorable. This podcast can become you guys building your personal brand. So you do like less of the informational stuff and more of like, we're bringing the attention from our TikTok people that come and show up every week.
Sure.
And now it's like, oh, it's our packs. It's the Cardman packs.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That
which is kind of a looser version of what we're doing. Yeah. Well, do you think there are other platforms to help exercise this? Things like Discord, things like Patreon. Where do you think those kinds of things play into this kind of stuff?
I mean, I would have a very different answer like a year ago. I think right now,
give me the year ago and then give me today. I'm curious the difference.
I mean, so a year ago, it's like you want to be on as many platforms as possible to spread the voice, and you also want to take the time to build out each ecosystem so you're doing it the correct way. So you're optimizing across platforms. I think that investing in any platform right now is like quite risky, other than the platform that's working for you. Just because I like, again, this is how I think about my daughter's education, right? It's like, it's really hard for me to think about education right now because I know education in 2 years is going to look completely differently. Like, AI has completely changed everything, and it'll take time for things to catch up. But if you want to be on the cutting edge and in the future, like, I would be thinking, you guys are crushing on TikTok Shop right now. Or is it, it's called TikTok Shop?
Yeah, it's TikTok live shopping. So yes, it's all
crushing on that right now.
Shop.
Keep doing that.
Yep.
And then everything else I'd be thinking about is like, how do we integrate AI to spread this message like farther? But I would be not going into Patreon and this other stuff because already working right now, what you want is more attention. All of those things, they pull away from the main attention mechanism. Like, even if you had to, try and leverage your TikTok following to bring it to Instagram or to bring it to YouTube, like, you're actually decreasing the people that are going to convert on your product. So I would go 100% in on what's working and just double, triple, quadruple down while it's working, because it's not going to work forever.
Interesting. And yeah, that forever is going to end probably pretty soon as AI comes in. Like, everybody's understanding of what is happening with their businesses, like, and me and Bubba are prepared for these things. We want to make sure that we have our eyes on the prize. This is all interesting. I wasn't even expecting to talk about this stuff. I like this a lot.
Can I say one thing too? I know we want to go to like a little bit more into like Pokemon, into like
whatever.
One of the things that's really fascinating is, so in China, they had been doing this social buying thing for the last 12 years.
Yeah.
So the first thing I tried to create within podcasting was to copy a Chinese app, which was basically how people interact and pay directly for content. And I just thought it was so sick.
How does this work? How does it work?
So essentially, it was crazy. So I forget what the app was called right now. It was in Chinese. This is a long time ago now.
Don't try to
This
do
is 2018.
If you don't have it, don't try to guess it here.
Sorry to the creator. But essentially, people were like, this is where super likes came out of. This is where this is huge. Like, Justin, sorry, the guy who created Twitch, his name's Justin Sun.
What?
Yeah, Justin TV. So it's like where this all came out of, is out of this one Chinese app. And basically, people were watching lectures, they're reading books, they're listening to what would be considered a podcast, and they're paying for interactions, and they're paying and buying products like live on it. And then like ByteDance creates TikTok, and that then comes over to America, right? So that is this huge idea that was already happening. And like it's really interesting because China skipped a lot of the stuff, but it didn't skip the hardware stuff very much from the 2000s to the 2016s, 2017s.
Okay.
Didn't skip the hardware, but it did skip the software, because it was a culture that went from no internet to native internet, whereas we have all these legacy things like advertising and stuff built into our culture.
Yeah.
And so they were able to go straight more efficient. And so now that's being exported west.
We've been kind of weighed down by the history of our advertising.
By Hollywood, by this, like, even, to the most recent election, like, they didn't take podcasting seriously before this most recent election. It was moving elections in 2016, but nobody was taking it seriously.
Yeah.
But now they do.
Like 10 years late.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to.
Sorry,
no. I like this.
Everything.
No. There's no. I want to formulate something, because I'm now using this as an opportunity for me to learn, which is great. I'll give you this exercise. You know what we're doing with our Cardmen stuff. We have podcasting. We talk about what we talk about. We have clips, great. And then we monetize through the stream on TikTok. Let's say we hired you today as CEO of whatever we do. Where would you go? What would be your first few steps as to maximize stream? You wouldn't go to Discord. You would stay on YouTube. I think, we're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram, TikTok. Where would you go, knowing what you know about the future of AI, trading cards, et cetera?
This is an absolute horrible answer, mate. But like, if I was going to become CEO of your company, I would tell you guys to keep doing what you're doing, because it's working.
Oh, sweet.
You never want to because a lot of people come in like, I'm going to build this, like, pay me a bunch of money. Like, it's working. Do you realize you got attention and you have people spending real money on your attention?
Yeah.
That is something that is nobody can come in and replicate. You caught a moment. Yeah. Keep doing it. Do it more. So I guess what I would do is go from 2 days on the weekends. Let's add a third day. See if we still have the same amount of that might be something I would do.
That we are
clothing lines. I would do potentially too.
Clothing lines.
You could like put out
cards.
Get into. You could put out cards like, hey, we have like this super rare one. If you buy the merch, like one of them's gonna get, you know,
yes,
the Dark Charizard.
Yes,
like,
yes. Oh, like an actual Pokemon card, not like
one of the merch lines. We're doing limited drop. Like one of them is gonna have it in it, like a Willy Wonka ticket. Like that could be a sick way to generate more revenue.
This is a good segue to talk about your merch line and why you have it, and then I want you to re-answer this question about our merch line. Hypothetically, you have Edopunk.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain to everybody what this is?
Yeah, so
because it's more than just a clothing line.
Yeah, no, I'm building a world, and I'm not very good at explaining this, but let's fucking go. I hope you guys are here for it.
Lock in, dude.
Let's lock in. So basically, so there's a book called Neuromancer. Have you heard of it?
This is a very cool start. Continue. Yes, yeah. I have not heard of it. I have not heard of it.
So it's by William Gibson.
Okay.
He wrote it on a typewriter in the 80s. He had never been on the internet. The Matrix ripped it completely. So think of the Matrix, that's what Neuromancer is. Yep. Ripped from this guy's, like the twins, they ripped it and made this. I got really manic, like right after Athena was born, just reading Neuromancer, and I was so obsessed with it. It's this book, and it reads so differently. A lot of the cyberpunk genre from the late 80s, early 90s, they used very specific lingo and weird words and stuff going on, and then it got really watered down when we did Blade Runner, and it became more like beautiful and aesthetic. But it was this, it reads like jazz, like offbeat. There's tempos within the writing. It's quite crazy. And I just became so obsessed with it. And I was so obsessed with this idea that William Gibson had never been on the internet. He predicted VR, the internet, Uber, computers, integrating with AI.
And these ideas weren't really floating around.
They didn't exist. He was never been on the internet before, bro.
Wow.
Like, and he called it, he said, he was like, I don't know what I'm writing, but it's a poetic response to my intuition. Direct quote from him.
God damn.
And I was just like, whoa, like what is my version of that? And so as somebody who's been obsessively online for a very long time and building businesses online since like 2013 or 2012, I was like, what is the corollary? Because I view fiction as history forward. So to clarify that, so history doesn't repeat, it rhymes is like a trope, right? People say that shit all the time.
Yeah.
We can learn so much from the lessons of history. What we're actually studying when we're learning the lessons of history is just people and how human dynamics like interact with each other. When you apply it forward, it's actually ideas are being transmitted to us and it's pulling us into that reality. Okay. And when something goes culturally viral, like it's not algo based, right? Dune, for example.
Yep.
Children of Dune was the first ever hardcover sci-fi book that ever launched because they thought it was, the book industry thought it was bullshit. They're like, this isn't real. We're only doing paperbacks.
Okay.
And then Dune had so much of a cultural pull because it hits this moment and it pulls us into the future. So what does that look like? Google is from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's written in there. Twitter is from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's written in there. The number of rockets on a fucking starship is 42, which is the answer to the question of what is the question? We don't know. The answer is 42. Like getting life multiplanetary took 42 rockets. Okay. Specifically. Like it pulls us into the future. And so I was like, okay, what future am I worried about happening? And what future do I want to be reality? So Edopunk is this universe that I'm building to help pull people from this basically idea that I feel like I received from somebody else, like Duncan Trussell shit, like fucking received it, pulled it into the future. So that was super long-winded. Do you want to like interrupt or like before I even get into the storyline here?
All I know is that I have a few of the hats and sweatshirts, and I really like the hats and sweatshirts. This is informing my sweatshirts so much more. No, my question or my thought would be that I come from artist world. I was a stand-up comedian and writer, actor guy. And I love Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art.
Let's go.
I'm actually reading right now Art of War, but whole different conversation. And he talks about the muse.
Yep.
And I imagine that is just a different way of saying what you are saying, is that there's some muse out there, there's some other world that this is your reflection of what you've tapped into there.
Yep. And you know that he doesn't mean that metaphorically.
Oh, he means it. It is there.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. It is the muse. It is this thing like that we are connecting to.
It's like I think about a muse. It's like, no, there is a muse. There is a God. There is a world.
And you look at history, that is a very common thing in Western culture and in Eastern culture. They name it different things.
Yes.
So basically, the thing that I'm afraid is going to happen is that this cyberpunk world got messed up because all cyberpunk is inherently dystopian, and it's about our relationships to technology.
Okay.
And I'm very worried that because we're an advertising-based culture and all of the humans are looked at as products, not the customers of all of the internet, that the natural outcome of that is this very dystopian world where nobody's connected, nobody's having kids, we all sit in our little boxes, kind of COVID style, and we consume. And that's what the floating world is this dystopian world. And Edopunk is this universe I'm building through a clothing line, which, because like Kanye West, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
I just think this would be the sickest way to manifest this, is following the hero Rikyu through his journey, leaving Edopunk, leading this ordinary tragic world, and learning how to become better, become more human.
So this story that you're building, the clothing is not like merch for the thing you're building. It is the platform.
It's integrated into it.
Whoa.
Because it's a part of it. So like if neither of us are wearing it right now, but
you have the hat.
Oh yeah. So this is the hat that when they enter the mental playground, which is when he escapes the ordinary world and he has to go transition into a dojo, and he learns how to, because again, in this world, it's like what we're at right now on TikTok times 1,000.
Sure.
So everybody is distracted constantly, and he has to sit alone, starting with a minute, then with an hour, then with like 2 hours, then with 5 hours. And that sounds trite, but I bet most people listening right now, if they try to sit alone
Be tough.
for an hour, it'd be tough. And think about it, if they, their kids grow up on the same thing they're in right now, and we have these generations of just dopamine addicts, so he has to sit alone.
Naval Ravikant has that hour-long meditation he talks about that I did like a few years ago a few times. You just sit there. He has like, there's like no rules. You just sit there with your eyes closed for an hour, and it's pretty wacky.
What came out of that for me, I did that for about a year straight. What came out of that for me is my visualization, which if it's useful for anybody, is I imagine myself, a vision of my, I don't know if also a lot of people don't have internal vision
dialogues
or it's like either or.
Sure.
Some people are fully dialogue, some people are fully visual, and I'm in the middle. But I just imagine myself falling, and then through just an infinite timescape of falling, and things come up, and then I look at them and they keep going, and I keep falling past them. And that's been very helpful for me in that hour of like doing that for like 300 hours.
I'm imagining one of our viewers just tuning in, being like, "Oh, what's that next hot Pokemon card?" And they just jump into the middle of this conversation like it's a floating world. This is a very, I like this a lot.
I can bring the floating world back to Pokemon though, if you want me to.
You know what? I want to see you try. That sounds like a very fun. Okay. Please, so I don't know how that's gonna happen.
So so the whole reason that this happened and like my flavoring on the cyberpunk is I grew up in a Japanese culture, obsessed with Japan my whole life. Grew up in Hawaii, not like Japanese, Chinese, Filipino, Hawaiian, very small amount of white people. But Japanese was very strong, and I've been obsessed. I went to Japan. I flew there alone when I was 13 for the first time, like my entire life.
Was there family there waiting for you or anything there?
My mom's second cousin was there.
Okay. I didn't know if you just went by yourself on a little solo trip backpacking.
My parents are crazy, but they
not that crazy.
Yeah, not that crazy.
Fair.
Yeah. I realized that so much of what's happening right now on the internet had happened before in Edo period Japan. So this is during the shogunate. And specifically the thing that caught my attention.
How many years ago was this?
So this was the middle age. So this is 1600 to about 1830.
Okay.
In Edo, which is modern day Tokyo, was a city of 1 million people. And the culture of Edo is pleasure. It was the most hedonistic society that ever existed before today. And it was super fascinating because I was seeing, Trump going on podcasts that OnlyFans girls go on.
Sure.
Right? And you have this shogun, military dictator, as like the top. And then below that, you have the merchant class and then the courtesan class. So prostitutes.
Oh, okay.
Pleasure, like
sure.
They were the
people
top
giving the
class.
pleasure.
They were the top class. Women were the top class in Japan with the businessmen.
Whoa.
And so you had courtesans and businessmen running society, which is where we're at today right now with OnlyFans and entrepreneurs. Sure, Like that is literally Andrew Tate and OnlyFans. Like that is what we're at right now. And so I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And so I just started studying it. So the other thing that really drew me into this, and this is the basis of the merch line, is Edo was a city that was meant to burn. It burned down completely over 4 times because Japan's on these fault lines, and they would just build houses that were meant to burn. So it was ephemeral.
On purpose?
On purpose.
Why?
Because it was too expensive, like when the fires happened, to like rebuild. So they knew it was a short time thing. Like it's inherently an ephemeral culture. That's why it's like the floating world is ukiyo, which is ukiyo-e, which is the biggest art from that time period. Because it was the Edo time period is totally characterized by ukiyo-e art, which means pictures from a floating world.
Is the floating world and Edo also, or your world also very hedonistic? Is that like a big part of this?
That's why the floating world is a dystopian society, because it's like if we let our dopamine drive everything, this is the outcome. And like it fell, and it was beautiful in the moment, but it was sick. And it was meant to burn. And so it's ephemeral, which is like the internet. And with AI too, like everything's ephemeral. Like you don't have context from the previous thing because you're just in a new chat. Like the algorithm is ephemeral. Like you can't go find something you saw before.
I was reading your sweatshirt. It has 3 lines. Nobody remembers you.
Everyone's watching. No one remembers. Is this even real? And that was this floating world concept.
And that I was reading it. I just was looking at my sweatshirt.
Yeah.
That hit me because of our clip and a few other clips. I've been very happy that this has happened.
Yep.
But it definitely puts it in perspective. I've definitely had a lot of negative comments.
Is this even real?
That's a thing to learn. And I'm like, you get in your head and you're blah blah blah. You are bald and you are stupid and everyone is.
Dude, I think the only thing you should take from this is I'm really fucking good at talking. That should be the only takeaway.
Don't tell me that, because I'm gonna keep talking. Dude, I watched the last episode with me and Mert. It was 30 minutes straight of me talking at the beginning of the episode, and I'm like, I like texted Mert. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I do enjoy a good yap.
You're great at it.
You're a good yapper.
Thank you, but you're way better at it.
No. We are the kings of yap. Which should be some characters in the Edo punk world. Yeah. Obviously, your brand, the reason I'm interested in it is obviously influenced, like you said, by Japanese culture. This podcast is built upon the foundation of Japanese IPs. Mm-hmm. What in the world is happening in Japan, maybe in specific timelines, and now, that they have such a world dominance? Why in 1990, let's say 7, did this Japanese cartoon take over like Pokemon? One Piece. When did One Piece start? It was a similar timeline. Right?
The manga. Pokemon's 94. Manga is 97 for One Piece.
94 for the video game?
Yeah.
Okay. Why in that time? Why Dragon Ball Z? I mean, how many other IP can we say, from Japan? There's one right behind you. What is going on in the creative minds over there that is tapping in so deeply and for so long to American audiences?
Yep, and it's exactly what Edo Punk is as well. Okay. Like, just to clarify, this is landing the ship. So Pokemon specifically was created by Satoshi Tajiri. It was during the industrialization of Tokyo. He grew up in a place where when he was a little kid, he's a bit autistic. There was a lot of nature and land, and then it got paved over. So like the Pokemon lore is actually, he's like the bug catcher guy and like all the Pokemon, because that was his like really attention and like his focus. The reason it's hitting so intensely, it's back to that muse, but we are trying to culturally understand how we react to technology. And Tokyo from the 80s became this city. So basically, like, again, to the Edo understanding, is meant to burn. World War II burned. Obviously not nuclear bomb burn, but burned.
Sure.
And so they were able to institute American infrastructure very fast because there was nothing holding them back. So they scaled like crazy. And basically the train was the main thing that really impacted it.
The bullet train.
No. This is far before bullet trains.
Oh,
just
like the train. You're talking. Okay,
we're talking about. You were talking in the 40s. This allowed it to build infrastructure like crazy. So they were able to build crazy companies like all the way through the 80s and 90s, and then they hit this ceiling, which is they call it in economics stagnation. And their currency wasn't doing as well. They couldn't export things as well. And so you had this thing that was the hyperest growth culture of all time. Like this would have been us if, let's say, like if the Democrats would have won this last election, we would be more in that phase.
Okay.
We're looking to the past. We're looking at this like nostalgic view, and technology is actually having a negative impact on us. And so all of like Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, One Piece are responses, the reactions to this thing where you have this hyper control, hyper centralization, hyper technologically driven concrete world, this sprawl. They're reacting to it, and it's this return to nature, return to human elements. And that is something that you know, in this same time period, we had kind of the greatest moment in American culture. The American dream was alive. People were like, the saddest moments was us listening to Good Charlotte. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in
Benji, new fan of the pod, by the way.
Let's fucking go. That was
he commented on
thing.
the clip.
Yes.
That was sick.
That was number one. Like, that was the only thing I showed all my boys. Like,
cool.
all my boys are like big famous people, and I was like, oh, I made it.
Yeah.
And they're like so excited.
Cool. Benji Madden from Good Charlotte commented on our post.
Million views. Who gives a shit? Benji fucking Madden, and he's into the One Piece so hard.
That's like his whole thing.
I know, dude. That rules.
We'd love to have official. Please come on the podcast.
Yeah, let's get him out.
But, we'll come to wherever you're living or whatever.
But yeah, so that is basically what it is. It's they were the first culture to hyper technology across the things and like destroy nature. You've
made me consider for the first time. I'm really thinking about Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon right now. That the freaking logo of the center point of the anime is a Pokeball.
Yep.
This like magical technological piece that like can't really exist, and it's hyper technological. And in Yu-Gi-Oh is the there's a name to it. I don't want to bullshit it, but you know where the cards go and they. One Piece. I don't know if is there similar.
The devil fruit is a technology.
There you go.
Yep.
And so there is this interaction with technology. They are also very with Dragon Ball Z included. Very natural. Very nature, very odd nature, new nature. You know, Johto is this weird place with different formations, and it's. I guess more specifically with Pokemon, it's a reaction to industrialization. I've never considered that.
But it's not industrialization is the wrong word because it's not like the Industrial Revolution. This is the techno industrialization.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, with that being said, I have to ask, what about the way, let's say Pokemon, just to keep it simple, what about the way Pokemon interacts with this thing is hitting people? There's obviously some sort of very deeply rooted thing that we are pushing back against it in a way.
It was.
We're trying to remain natural.
No, it was more that it was the first. So Pokemon launches in 1994 as Red and Green. We got Red and Blue in America. They got Red and Green in Japan. It was the first Game Boy, not Game Boy Color, not Game Boy Advance, Game Boy game that had like a proper storyline. You know, like a proper storyline, and it's
a beginning, a middle, and end. Yes,
there's a morality to it because again, like Satoshi put his heart into this as best he could, and again. Back to the clip.
Yeah,
doesn't fucking shit on One Piece, but but he put his heart into it, and he meant this to make this very intentionally, and it was a love letter to his childhood. Versus like Mario was very popular at the time, Yoshi was very popular at the time. Mario just celebrated their 40th anniversary recently, and Nintendo loved that. But there wasn't like it was like two plumbers, and like they've built the storyline on top of it. But
it's fun, but it's not as deeply rooted.
Yeah, like when I got my first Pokemon when I was, I don't know, 7 or 6, 5. Sure. When I was 5, I hold that dearly to my heart to this day because I went on this journey with Charmander, and we built this story together where we were like, I would never let him die, kind of like a what's the Togi? What are the little like
Togepi?
No, not Pokemon related. It's like the things you can't let die. That's like you wear it on your like watch. It was a big thing back in the 90s.
Tamagotchi.
Yeah, it was like a Tamagotchi, right? I was like, I would not let him die. I would like train him, and I would go like, and I built this arc, and then the actual storyline comes on where it's like it's about friendship and it's about doing fun things with your friends and morality. And that really hit different because like the other games, Space Invader has like an arc, but not really. Like, we're coming out of this era where we're at
Tetris,
arcades, right? Like pinball. Yeah. Like there's a story, but this is the first one that has kind of like a true, we're going to invest 20 hours into this game.
Yes.
And there's not even a winning. Like you can collect them all, but there's not really a winning. It's about the experience of it.
I think what you're explaining is a very good lesson for me and hopefully a lesson for people watching. This podcast is about the business and woohoo and great. We'll talk about that all day. It's built upon people like you. This only works. And the reason that we can have conversations like, are Pokemons the next NFTs, which we'll talk about, I'm sure. The reason that can even happen is because there is some human stored value in these stories. You explaining Charmander, everybody has a story about Squirtle, about Magikarp, but whatever. Psyduck. this is why we're able to do what we do, because whether it's conscious or as eloquently said as you or not, this is the future of trading cards. We've talked about on the podcast that people want to engage in an economy. And I said on your podcast, people want to engage in an economy on like the shit they like. And like, if I can like trade lightsabers, I'm not a huge Star Wars guy, but for people who like Star Wars, this is what's different about trading cards. And the next steps that we are seeing happen right now, that it's going into this different place financially, which we'll talk about. It's built on this because for the first time and through technology, people are able to, I don't want to say capitalize. They're able, I mean, would you say that you have value in these memories that you're saying? I mean, obviously there's a very inherent value in these memories and these stories and who you've become as a man and growing. And well, what is money? It's a store of value. And so people, I think, are people are able to now express themselves that way. And they're able to have a card that represents that. They're able to have a SpongeBob SquarePants refractor. Where's your Mewtwo?
Bro. Like,
there's your Mewtwo.
Literally my fucking thing. Yeah.
There you go. So that is if you were watch that part again. Go back to see this is what, when you're engaging as a vendor, as a streamer, or whatever you're doing, this is what you're selling. I mean, this is what we do. So that was a very poignant point to say.
Dude, it's so crazy too. It's like it's not only this conscious thing; it's also physiological. Like maybe we can put this in the show notes. Sorry, JJ, to make more work, but
yep, more work.
They did a bunch of brain scans and found that people who, when they get shown the first 151 Pokemon, a different thing lights up in their brain. Like, that's how fucking deep this is.
I have this buddy who just visited, his name Pat. Shout out Pat. Total bro, works at Meta. And he's been listening to my Pokemon stuff and thinks it's funny. We sat down for beers the other day. He's like, I bet I can name the top 151 Pokemon, the first of them. And I'm like, really? Like, what? He's like, yeah. And he knew them all. This is a guy who doesn't collect cards, but it's in there, man.
It's deep in there.
It's deep in there.
Like, I remember the reason Mewtwo is like my boy is because when the first Pokemon movie came out, my dad and I drove from North Shore, Kauai, middle of nowhere, and I didn't even own shoes, all the way to Lahui, which is like an hour and 15 hour, 30 minutes.
You grew up in Hawaii?
I grew up in Kauai, yeah.
Kauai, okay.
Yeah. And we get there, and the movie theater won't let me in because I don't have shoes on, because I didn't have fucking shoes other than for skateboarding. So we have to go to a Walmart, and then we go.
Yeah.
And that's why I want that Mew real bad.
Which one? Oh, the ancient Mew.
Yeah, because that's what they were giving out at that time.
We can give out.
Yeah.
We can find you an ancient Mew.
Yeah. That movie was this moment, because my dad, who's now about to pass, he...
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Had so much time for me as a kid. And like one of the times when he went to Asia for work, he brought back like green. And so I was a kid who had the green, which is like didn't launch in America. So it's just like so many core memories, you know what I mean? With these things, like they mean so much to us. 93.
Okay. I grew
up in Hawaii though. So again, I grew up in Asian culture.
Okay. So there's this thing that I've been wrestling with since I've been into Pokemon, which is I was also born in 93. I'm December 93. So I'm
January. So I'm the front.
You got about a year on me, whatever. That we were in the what grade? 7 years old, let's just say 7 years old, 6 years old, 5 years old, up to whatever. I don't have that many active memories like that. Like I really loosely remember watching the movie, 2000. I loosely remember seeing Luke, whatever. See, it shows you what I know. I remember seeing Lugia on the big screen.
Yeah.
I remember having I remember getting a Charizard from the legendary deck, the non-holo. But the memories aren't very visceral. And so at first I was like, oh, maybe I didn't have many memories. And there's some things happening where I'm getting to some of these older cards. Like I like the Neo era, which would be Lugia and the Johto region. Mm-hmm. And it's hitting me in a way that isn't here. I'm not like, oh, I remember that time when I don't have the memories.
You feel it.
My dad had health issues back in the day, which was I'm realizing I'm like, oh, there might be some stuff here, because obviously I'm obsessed with this stuff for a reason. Yeah. That it's hitting parts of me that I don't even really feel. Mm-hmm. In or can be able to explain.
Yeah.
And I finished my Neo Master set. I instantly sold it. I had to, but oh well. But at least I completed it. I'll get it back. But yeah, there's this interesting thing happening with me that I talk to a lot of people who have memories of it, and I'm one of these guys that doesn't have memories, but I think they're in there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if we're the same age, there's no reason. I have more memories about SpongeBob maybe because I watched the show more and liked the show a little bit more. I wasn't I liked the Pokemon anime. I wasn't dying for the Pokemon anime. SpongeBob I loved. If anything, I was actually moving on to like Comedy Central and watching like stand-up clips of, you know, whatever. They had those 30-minute specials or whatever. Well, this is a good explanation of why Pokemon has done what it's done. You have, and if you can explain a little bit of your background, if there is anything to explain, you have an interest and passion in crypto and NFT. Am I correct?
Yeah. So I launched the first ever podcast NFT ever.
A podcast NFT.
Yeah. Full.
Please explain.
Full
that.
on chain, full like multiple gig audio podcast. So basically, again, my whole thing was how do we decrease the influence of advertising in media? I thought blockchain was the way to do that. My entrance into blockchain was 2013 dark web shit, and then moving into 2017 CryptoKitties. That was the first thing because it felt like Pokemon to me. I was like, okay, because basically CryptoKitties was you could algorithmically like breed these things, and it would like pop out another one, like going to the daycare and like making an egg, right? And it was all done on the blockchain, which was like so fascinating. So that's really what pulled me in was CryptoKitties. And what I started to realize is it's a vehicle that allows us to monetize content more directly. And so that's what really got me into it.
How so?
How do we monetize content more directly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like you can own a Pokemon card.
Okay.
The internet, again, is this ephemeral place where things feel like nobody owns anything. This gives unique ownership to one thing.
Okay.
So, more art example. The Mona Lisa. We know there's one Mona Lisa. You know where it is?
Yep.
Where's it at?
France?
Paris, France.
It's in the Louvre.
It's at the Louvre. Exactly.
Yeah, I know my stuff.
You know that's the Mona Lisa.
I'm very cultured.
But you've seen, I don't know, if there's a fucking knockoff Mona Lisa in here somewhere, like everywhere, right? And so they use that image, but you know where the number one is.
Yes.
So they copy it all the time. You know, they right-click save it. It gets recreated everywhere.
People can literally paint another one, make it look the exact same. Yeah, you can really do it. But
it's not the Mona Lisa.
Yes.
And so just like the PSA 10 Charizard is not the PSA 9. It's not that. It's this one.
Yeah. And there's 20 of them or however, whatever the pop.
NFTs do that to the internet, and they do that to media. So like you have a meme go viral, you can actually be like, oh, who created the meme? Oh, we have the source code. This is where it came from originally. This is the creator of the meme.
That person could monetize.
It now is, you create something that feels infinite, and the only reason it feels infinite is because it's monetized indirectly through advertising, but you can have something that actually is scarce. Like this is it. This is the one. This is the thing.
As total outsider guy, I'm not as familiar with this. NFTs had a moment back in the day. That seems to not be as, at least on the front page. What happened? Why is it not on the front page like it was? Or am I not reading the right pages?
No, I mean, it's not on the front page. That's completely true. It's not dead, but it's not on the front page. It was just, again, I think similar to what's happening in the moment with Pokemon right now, in One Piece specifically.
Sure. Sure.
Too much money, too much attention, too fast, wrong reasons, not in it for the lore, not in it for the art. Companies just got randomly overnight by making a little bit of JPEGs, $1 billion.
Okay.
And what do we do with it? How do we do this? How do we build a brand? We don't have, this story, this young boy who's growing up in the western part of Tokyo, whose land gets paved over to create this storyline.
It's just some apes.
It's just some...
And they're bored.
Apes is an example. Yeah, exactly. And they were trying to do social clubs, trying to do all this stuff, but really it was, holy shit, you can just do something, get a bunch of influencers to tweet about it, and walk away with $60 million for providing no value, and that just destroyed it because it got lost in that. It was just, all of the scammers came in. You had a great line on our podcast, or my podcast.
Please tell me.
I think it was for One Piece specifically, it's like people value the people who value the cards. Yeah. And people realized, again, this is when everybody was getting checks during COVID, that they could extract all of that COVID check money from all of the poor people in the world and just extract that value. And so people were just launching scam after scam after scam with no IP, no quality, no storyline. And that absolutely gutted the industry. And like, I wish it would have gone slower.
Where is it right now?
Right now, we're in it for the art.
Ooh, but that's good.
It's great.
That's good. It's for people who actually appreciate this world. They have a history of it. They want to build something on it. That could bode well in the future. Because it seems, are there issues with the technology, or is the technology pretty rocking?
The technology is pretty good. There is this one issue, which is quantum computing, which is like increasingly near on the horizon. But this is also a problem for Bitcoin. It's also a problem for like all cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
It's also a problem for all bank accounts.
Okay.
But this is the problem with decentralized things. which Ethereum's less, which a lot of the NFTs are based off Ethereum, but there's a huge Bitcoin NFT community as well, and there's tons of different, nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but it's very hard to get a decentralized community like Bitcoin to make a software update to the protocol. It's inherently not updatable or challenging to do. And then everything in crypto is downstream of Bitcoin. And so like that is where this quantum thing is very much an issue. Because essentially, so the way that the Bitcoin, how mathy should we get?
Light math.
Okay, so there's a thing called a trapdoor equation, which is basically you can multiply something, you can't divide it.
Okay.
Like it doesn't work out. You can't figure out how to bring it back.
Okay.
And so that's what all of the Bitcoin protocol is based off of. And it would take you if you just what's it called? If you just like by hand or by computer tried to get it over time, it would take you like older than the universe is.
Okay.
To get to that number.
Sure. It's not happening.
But with like our compute scaling up so fast right now because of how much energy we're putting into AI, because everything is downstream of energy, and like how much energy we're putting into AI, it is really making it actually feasible. It could take like a few days.
Wow.
We're not there yet, but like China feels like it's getting increasingly closer. Google is getting increasingly closer. And that, again, if you're Chase Bank, you can update to a new protocol that is quantum safe. Bitcoin is going to be very challenging to convince 51% of the protocol to make this decision.
And this technology, when it all comes to fruition, is just to lock in the idea that we can point back to the Mona Lisa.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Am I on the right page here?
No. So this is why it's like this is the thing I was describing is like why it's why the technology is not sound right now. That's what I'm describing. But I don't think that's relevant to why it's less popular right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my interest is, what are the overlaps between, we can say trading cards, but let's just say Pokemon for now. What are the overlaps between Pokemon and things like NFTs? What things as a store of value do NFTs do better? What things do Pokemon do better? My guess is the history of Pokemon is better. I mean, there's just people love it. That's a pretty easy one. 2, there is no need for technology where that's a card. I mean, we have to know it's a real card, which I guess fakers could make that tough. I don't think that's as big of a problem as maybe people think. I don't see it day to day, but maybe there's some amazing fake card maker out there who could trick everybody. The finiteness does seem a little bit easier. What do you see as some overlaps, good or bad, between a Pokemon trading card or trading cards in general to NFT?
Yeah. So I think if we're looking at the differences, it's NFTs scale way faster because a digital product versus a physical product.
But how does it scale if there's only the one?
The way in which it can transfer is immediate.
I see.
So you don't have to go through we can let markets decide versus, you're out going to vendors all the time.
Yeah.
You're like finding these things where it's like public market. Anybody can buy it anytime.
Yeah.
So the economics are faster. That's probably the main difference. And then it's a physical versus a digital good. But this again, NFTs were basically making you own things. It's digital property rights. It's like you own something because you have it in your hand. Mm-hmm. And like what? Possession is 9/10 of the law, like bullshit, right? Whatever. Okay. Like you own it because you have it in your hand. I know I own it because I have it in my wallet. That's your
digital wallet.
My wallet. Yeah. But I mean, again, what is money? What is store of value? Like, is it just Chase? Like, I can trade my NFTs immediately. I can't send a certain amount of money fucking to my clients monthly because Chase has my money and it's not mine. Like, they own it. I can't send it on the weekends. I can send this anytime I want. So it's more mine.
It kind of seems like, there's like it's almost a meme at this point of the people who comment on things about Pokemon, like, you put that much money into cardboard, dumbass. Like, that's like a thing that you see everywhere.
Yeah, JPEGs. Yeah.
And and you see that same comment on, that's just code or that's just a JPEG.
Yeah.
Jewelry are rocks. Mm-hmm. Gold is metal. Mm-hmm. Money is paper. Mm-hmm. What other stores of values? I mean, it's all nothing. It's all
wheels are fucking made of cement.
Yeah. It seems like it.
Sorry, that's just going to be confusing if I don't clarify that.
Yeah. Wait. What?
Sorry.
I'm so wrapped up in my own genius thought.
Sorry. You finish.
Wheels of what?
So like the original money was wheels of these cement blocks that were like kind of wheels, and they would just be like, okay, I own that. You own that. We'll trade you like 10 chickens for that. It's like in the ocean somewhere. We can't move it, but that's mine now.
That was the original.
Yeah, okay, you go to the Zimbabwe. You go to the Frankfurt Museum of Money and the history of money.
How did you mix up Zimbabwe and Frankfurt?
This is how.
Okay.
One of the things they have in there is $1 trillion bill from Zimbabwe. So that's always top of mind when I talk about yeah.
But it seems like it all boils down to trust. It all
and verification.
And yeah, sure, which is a verification of the trust. That, like right now, we are trusting the Louvre that is the Mona Lisa. Mm-hmm. We are trusting that you, if I hand you $1, which I literally found a fake dollar walking. That's funny that we're bringing this up, and we realized I was going to be nice and give it to JJ, but it is all amount of trust, and it seems like the uphill battle that tech monies, NFTs, and cryptos has is trust. I think they're for a lot of people, you're in it, so you have all the trust. I think there's a lot of people who don't trust AI and technology, and there does seem to be something with Pokemon that people trust because it's like, it's Pikachu. How can Pikachu hurt me? Now, trusting it as a store of value, that's another form of trust that, there's plenty of very successful people out there who would not trust it as a store of value because it is cardboard. And I said this line, and I'll say it again. There's people who value the cards and people who value the cards. You can almost say that as there's people who trust the cards and people who trust the people who trust the cards.
For sure, 100%.
And it does seem like when we, what is money? What is crypto? It is just trust.
I'm sorry, I really have to interrupt this.
Please.
And again, I understand for people who aren't super deep into it, crypto is math-based.
Which is relatively trustworthy.
It's the most
That's
trustworthy
about as trustworthy.
Thing.
It's numbers.
Like, this is the argument. Like, okay, so why it would be better than that is that you cannot fake an NFT.
Sure.
You can definitely fake a Pokemon card. I know you might not have seen it, but like literally the entire
you can. Of course,
the entire art market is based off of people selling fake fucking shit.
You totally can.
And like, there's been so much press about this, so much attention, because they cannot validate that creator created it. We can validate it came from that wallet.
Here's my pushback. No, you cannot fake actual math. But have people been able to use math to manipulate? I think so. In history, right?
For sure. And like, that's the layman like experience of it. And I can like,
for sure.
So somebody thinks they're buying a Bored Ape and they're not, and they get scammed.
And they don't necessarily know that. They don't know the ins and out of what to look for like you.
Yeah.
I've put the last X amount of time in my life to know these cards and this thing that you've done the same thing with these kinds.
But it's just like, you can just get a validator tool and it's like, boom, it's instant. You can just be like, oh shit, it's actually on the blockchain. Like, it's actually attached to this contract. Like, it takes a second versus like, Bubba has to like go in and go like detail. You know what I mean? It's a very different thing.
It takes education.
Yeah.
As
and
well.
It's not human. It's not a human error thing. Like, I can't pay Bubba to be like, or like with the LP stuff, like I can't pay the guy to be like, yo, this is a PSA 10. Like, let's make it a 10. We'll create the whole market right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, it's either is or it isn't.
Which should be, is LP Logan?
Yeah.
Okay, do we not say his name?
No, we can.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like we're gonna get demonetized if we say Logan Paul.
No.
Okay. Okay. Anecdote that might impact what I'm attempting to say here, and not my personal opinion, just like everybody's opinion. I took a Waymo yesterday. I got flipped off. I literally
welcome to my life, bro. Can we play Simple Plan? Welcome to my life, dude. I get flipped off every fucking day,
dude. Because you have the
cyberpunk.
Yeah. So I get flipped off. I roll down the window and they start laughing. They didn't realize somebody was in the car. We had like a quick laugh about it, but there's some pent up aggression towards, and you're experiencing it with the Cybertruck, but there is a pent up aggression towards this technological movement. However you want to say
100%, bro.
A minute later, my Waymo, I don't want to say cut off. It was a thing. I get flipped off. And then maybe 2 minutes later, a bike comes and just completely cuts off like it didn't exist. Like, yeah, I'm biking. I can do whatever I want in the middle of the road. Of course, the Waymo had to kind of slam on the brakes. There is a lot of hate and distrust towards a lot of things.
Yes, so AI pulls worse than ice. It pulls worse than fucking ice in America.
Yeah.
And we are being so fucked by this, and we are being influenced by this narrative by other countries that want our downfall. Like, it is crazy that we're allowing this narrative to continue to exist, because in every country in the rest of the world, it pulls way higher.
Wow.
People within the AI industry who are helping build this narrative to raise marketing dollars on top of it. But it is not true. It is not actually what's happening, and it's so fucking sad, because if we allow this to corrupt us, we will be left behind. This is actually a war with China, not just a fucking oh shit, we have to get a little bit more water, less than an almond farm, less than a fucking cow, to make sure that we have energy abundance in the world, that we can actually solve all of these issues. And the marketing problem with AI comes from, right now there's 900 million people every week using ChatGPT. They're using it as a chat platform. It is so much more than that.
Sure.
If you can actually start to use it and have it solve problems in your life, and they can build a product that looks that way, then we will be able to understand what it can do for us, and we'll change our opinion. But we are being propagandized to so aggressively. Wow. It's the same people who said don't have kids. It's that same mentality. And like what this is doing, if we just go zoom the fuck out, Bitcoin, the reason Bitcoin worked is because wages fell in America. Wages fell in America, one, because we made women expected to work the full time, and we paid the household the same combined. But two, it fell because energy creation stopped. Like everything is downstream of energy. We stopped making energy in the 90s. We had this whole environmental movement. We thought coal was bad, so the argument became coal versus renewables, but like nuclear wasn't in the discussion. What AI has done with all these big data centers is created a demand for energy. We are now building infrastructure on infrastructure on infrastructure to get as much energy as possible. Okay. Energy literally is downstream of everything you do in your life, is downstream of energy. Okay. Everything. And so if you just even look at it like the most basic view, and I don't know if this is honestly compatible, I think people are going to like it because they use a product and they like it, but everything in your life will become cheaper if we can actually build up this stuff. Like it'll be dramatically cheaper if we can have abundant energy. Okay. Because energy is a cost, like gas, gas prices. And that's energy.
And you would say that the narrative out there pushed by whoever is keeping this down and keeping us hateful 100%. And keeping us.
Yes, 100% it is. Dude, so this is one thing I've been trying to figure out is how do I buy Pokemon cards? Like legitimately, I don't know how to buy them.
Okay. Wow. What a question with many answers. I guess follow up. What kind of cards?
Okay, so I want the Ancient Mew PSA 10.
Okay.
How do I get it? How do I know it's PSA 10?
There's so many different ways. First of all, you can do it in person. You can go to a card shop. You can go to your local card shop.
They have a PSA 10.
Well, not necessarily. We'll get to like how to do specific cards in a second. Like if you're hunting for a specific thing, you can go to a card shop. You can go to a local card show. There's different sizes. Some of them are like 10, 20 tables with vendors, and some of them are 1,000 vendors. They could be huge. Obviously, the bigger, the more likely that card would be there. You can go on TikTok. You can go on Whatnot, which are apps that you can buy cards on.
Is Whatnot legit? Like
Whatnot's it's legit. I mean, it's controversial, as in any online selling can be pretty controversial. It's a lot of auction style and Whatnot, and I think there could be a stink that let's say a card is worth $10. The person says, this thing's worth $40. And the people go to $20. You're like, dude, you cooked me, dude. I love this. You could. But they just spent $20 on a $10 card. That is sort of a stereotype that could be true in Whatnot. If you are searching for a very specific card, I guess it depends on the card, but let's go with your example. A PSA 10 Ancient Mew. There's a few different variants of it. You want the Japanese one? Yeah. So the Japanese one, it's in like Ancient Mew language. Yeah. There's no actual language. You can tell. I have. Oh no, they're with Bubba now. But it's the coloration. The English one had the more famous Cosmo Hollow. That's kind of in the purpley thing. The Japanese one has a little more of a sparkly kind of look to it. Kind of hard to explain. There's some other, there's the Nintendo Error, which they just forgot the letter N. That's a little bit more valuable. So is there one that you had in mind?
I'll go Japanese or the Nintendo, depending on price.
Nintendo's going to be a lot more.
What is a lot more?
I believe a Nintendo around at PSA 10 is around 10K. Okay. I would say the English one. What did Ramin get his for? Because Ramin just got 28. Okay, so there was an English one for 2,800
for a PSA 10.
For a PSA 10. You asked, how do you know it's a PSA 10? Yeah. It pretty. Do we have? Is my card here? Yeah. Great. It comes like this. Boom.
Is that a PSA 10?
That is a PSA 10, yeah.
Dude, I've never held one before.
Oh, there you go. It literally comes in the slab. Now, again, are there fakes out there? Yes, you kind of have to know what you're looking for. That one, I hope it's not a fake. I don't think it is. That's obviously an Umbreon card. Yeah. But that's how you would know. It would say right there, you can scan that little code to get, it takes you to a database to make sure it's not, sometimes if it's stolen, you can report it to PSA. Yeah. So like, let's say somebody stole this card, I would report it. And then somewhere wherever someone scans this, this was stolen, that person knows, oh shit, it was stolen. You know, maybe it can even track back to me. So yeah, you would be looking for something like this. And by the way, when it's like if it's Japanese, English, Nintendo error, it would all be written here. You would be able to see Nintendo error. That's a variant that is some errors are not variants on there. You know, but let's say you're hunting for one in specific. That card feels popular enough, like well-known enough that I feel like you would be able to find it at any large show. You just have to go table to table. You'd have to ask, do you have an Ancient Mew in PSA 10? They could say no, but my buddy Bob over there does, you know, whatever. It's also not expensive enough. It's not like a $100,000 card.
Yeah.
You should be able to find it. Someone like me can go find it for you.
Yeah.
And we could, I'd gladly look it out for you. You know, find it for a good deal or whatever. So I could be on the hunt for, you could have someone who's in the game, you know, looking for you. You can also do it online. You can go to eBay. I mean, it is that simple. You can't go to eBay. Be careful.
The eBay feels sketchy. Like, I literally don't know. It's like...
It can be sketchy. I mean, you look, if the person has 0 reviews and it's a new whatever, also knowing, like, what the comps are and reading comps is something somebody like me...
What do you mean comps?
The entire market of pretty much every card's value is based on comps. It's based on what was it sold for and what is it listed at.
This is why NFTs are so much better, because we actually have real market dynamics.
You
like,
know
we have
what?
all the data.
Fuck
like,
NFTs.
right
Pokemon is... No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Oh, and it is a constant learning curve of how the fuck do you price this thing? Some cards they sell so often it's relatively easy to, but you have different apps, different platforms. eBay, TCG Player, that's a little bit more for the non-graded cards. And you're looking at last solds, you're looking at listings. Some of the newer cards they sell all the time. I don't care what it's listed at. What are the 2 last solds? $200? I'll give you $200. If it's a rare card, hasn't sold for 3 months, there's one listing at, it sold 3 months ago at $40. There's a listing at $400. What the hell do you price that at? Is it a $200 card? It sure as hell ain't $40.
Yeah.
These are all factors that happen to be happening right now with some of the vintage cards. That's like a little more of a common thing. There's obviously market manipulation on places like TCG Player. There's a YouTuber, Pokey Data Dad Guy, who came out with a good video showing, you know, like there's a Mega Gengar card out, right? Very popular. 1100, 1100, 1200, 1200, 200, 200, 200, 1100, 1100. Who the fuck did it for 200? That was some bullshit, right?
Yeah,
but
tax loss harvesting.
It fucks up it fucks up everything. It could shift the market somehow. It could push a boulder off a hill in a way. So when I say that to reading comps, you know that you're picking the right. Make sure it's a real Ancient Mew, right? I would look it over, but make sure the person doesn't have it listed at way higher than it should be. And you're like, I guess 5,000 sounds good to me. Yeah. No, you want to make sure what you do. You look at the last sales, and the last sales tell a story, right? It kind of 1,100, 1,200, 13. Okay, this thing's going up. Listings at 2,000. Oh shit, people expect this thing to really keep going up. Okay, there's a listing at 2,000. That's a little high. You do maybe a best offer, maybe you get them to 1,600, 1,500, boom, you get it for 1,500. That's how you would read it to get it for the right price. But hey, people coming in who don't necessarily know those things and they just buy it for 5,000. Guess what? That's a new comp. That card's worth $5,000 now. So this is the difference between NFTs and Pokemon, that it is just based off of humans buying things.
It's similar. There's a similarity there as well, for sure.
Yeah, and there's error. There's error. There's bullshit. There's manipulation. There's uneducated people being like, I guess I'll spend $2,000. And now everyone's like, woohoo, it's $2,000. For you, in this card, I would say either I hunt for you or you go to a show and I can walk with you and like have a fun time trying to find the card, which is technically the whole point of Pokemon, is to catch them all. Is to go to the big show and you go and you try to hunt for it and try to get the best deal. And that is kind of the fun of it. Because in NFT, you can't just go and buy. But the whole point of, and again, some of the more rare cards, you can't just go to Collect-A-Con and find it. It's tough. You can't go online and find it. And that's where kind of the higher end people come in, where it's like, how the fuck do you get this card? You know, it's whatever. I'm trying to think of like what's like the rarest Mew. Technically right now, the rarest Mew, it's actually a modern card. It's a new card. Yeah. It's a Chinese Mew. It was just printed.
I saw that.
They apparently only printed 1,510 of them.
Yeah.
And so raw, let alone to find it in a 10, as in it's how do I say? serialization is a thing in trading cards. Like they serialize the number, like 1 of 10. This is more common in sports cards.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist in Pokemon for a reason. This is technically like one of the only serialized. It's not on the card, so it's not serialized. But
it's huge in NFTs too,
for sure.
Yeah.
And I would say that's probably the most valuable Mew. I would think right now raw, which is crazy. It's
no interest in it because it's like modern.
You have no interest in it?
Yeah, personally.
Interesting.
How do you think about damn, totally forgot what I was gonna say.
That's all cool. That's all good, man. That's because you're drinking beer and I'm drinking Element. Element makes you not forget things. Beer makes you forget things. And that's just what it does.
Sometimes good things, sometimes bad
We're
things.
talking what we're talking about. We're talking Chinese Mew. You weren't interested. Ancient Mew, finding it at the show.
No, it's towards the top thing. All good. Whatever. Okay, so I think I have a good understanding of how you guys run the business. So essentially, like you go to all these things and you build fun packs, and then so part of what you're doing is selling the cards, but a lot of it's entertainment, right? You're like entertaining the people as they're like doing you're ripping them. And I source cards either at the shows or through Facebook deals or whoever can find me. Yeah. For sure. Like everybody pays basically the same price for the rip, and then they get the cards.
Yes, and they could get one of our wall cards, which could be a $800 crazy mega Charizard, whatever, or it could be one of the floors, which we try to keep our floors really high. I mean, people do say in the comments we have the best floors in the game. Sometimes people spend, I'm making these numbers up, they'll spend $200 and they'll get $1. I mean, it could really suck. We try to at least, we'd like to think we keep it about as high as the industry.
How much like are you? So you do the vintage ones, right?
We do both.
But you run the vintage one. Like,
so we do singles. So we don't deal with these quite yet. But keep an eye out because we might. This is a whole different market than the non-graded cards. I'll explain another time, but keep an eye out. But right now, Fridays are modern singles, ungraded cards, and then Saturdays are vintage singles, ungraded cards. It's pretty much the same thing going on, slightly different numbers just because they are different markets and how they function and what people want. But give or take, it's the same experience. But no, my job is I get all of the cards. I'm looking for modern and vintage. I'm the sourcer. I'm the getting of the card. I hand it to Bubba. Bubba takes it for the vintage cards. He cleans them. So our cards are nice and shiny. The modern, he doesn't need to do that. And then he streams them and ships them out.
Okay, so you're not part of the streaming at all.
I don't do any. I mean, I'm also me and him run the stream in terms of our decisions and what to do
you're
and
not
how
on
to
camera
guard
for this.
Yeah, and marketing.
So how much of this is like? So you're not actually building the entertainment value of this. It's actually just the actual act of ripping the cards.
What do you mean the entertainment value?
Like so like you're a stand-up comedian. Sure. You have all this like you're good on camera. Like, are you like making jokes? Are we having fun? Like,
no,
is it entertainment?
I'm not on camera for the stream. No,
that's
it's
crazy
all him.
to me. That's fucking crazy.
It is. It's just so what happened was he has been building this stream for a few years, and it was so many different forms and facets and different things, and but over time built up a loyal audience.
Yeah,
he was doing different. He would do a cleaning stream. He would do different kinds of streams. Yeah. But he was doing this selling stream only once a month. And I was like, hey man, like this is going pretty well for you when you do it the once a month. Like, what would you do if you did it twice a month, 3 times a month, whatever? And he was like, I think people would still eat it up. Yeah. On the side, he had been pretty much coaching me on my stream. We'd become friends. He's telling me how to build my thing. And I was building my thing slowly. And I was like, hey, what if I just take all the work that I'm doing to build my thing and we just fold it in together and we grow your audience and give them more stuff. So we went from 1 to 8 streams pretty much overnight. Yeah. That's now been for a few months. And then, like I said, we're thinking about a 3rd stream, and it takes
Morgan Mondays, bro. Because like I do think like so much of what is going to be the value add is like now you have the attention. Now how do you get broader, more attention to the TikTok shop? It's like it's the characters, it's the personalities. And
you would say
I don't know Mert that well, but I would say, or at all. Yeah. I've met him one time.
Yeah.
But like you have a good personality.
You would say a value of the stream would be having me have a day.
1000%.
Yeah.
Because it's entertainment, bro.
Here's my response to that, which is I agree. It is so exhausting, the stuff we're doing, that we've built out. We've built out, you know, how we spend our days. We are 24/7 with it. I mean, we bust our butts with that. It's a lot.
Okay, so again, like this is if I'm CEO of the company, like let's focus on things that scale versus don't scale. So like get somebody else to go out and ship find the cards half the time.
But you would say do what we need to do on the back end to get me on camera for the stream.
Yes.
It's not the worst. It's not the worst thing.
I think streaming. The fucking internet agrees with me.
Sure.
The first clip you posted got 1 million views.
That's a very good
YouTube
point.
alone,
So
and like 2 million across everything.
To have an opportunity for them to come hang out with me, on Monday, Morgan Mondays, whatever would be. That's an interesting. Me not doing it would be purely out of laziness, and so that's a bad reason to not do something.
But like this is the thing about like business: you have to scale it, and by scale, it's just like, okay, one, who are my homies that I can employ to help them out, to help me out, to help us out? You know what I mean? Like build a micro economy around yourself.
And it would be putting me on camera.
Which would probably be better for your guys' sales.
For sure. Yeah, and what's interesting is we have talked about as we grow, and this is very common in streaming world for Pokemon, that you get other people to stream for you. Like you hire streamers, and there's actually people out there who are like freelance streamers, and they come on. That would seem like something that maybe you would say, offload that last, because the thing that is rocking here is our personality, or maybe don't ever offload that. You guys are the, me and Mert are the vibe.
The last.
Exactly. Like we are the vibe. We are the hang, come and talk to us about whatever.
The other thing is so easy to, everything else is like solved problems.
We can figure out.
You guys got enough attention. That's an unsolved problem. That's what everybody wants. Everything else is solved problem.
We can figure out a way to help with the back end stuff, which is, it'd be a lot of work for sure to even on board and get somebody to help. Completely.
Then you can scale up though.
For sure.
And you can be in front of the camera, which means like even if you don't even do more than one day.
Yeah.
But you like obviously, dude, like our clip did fucking millions of views.
Yeah. And people clipped, clipped our clip and got millions of views.
So imagine if then you just had that going to all the people buying your shit.
What's interesting is the stream and how Mert does it is you don't see his face. And that's actually very common is the camera's here, it's a phone, and you do the hands, but you hear him talk and it's like there's a relationship. So my face wouldn't be on camera. I have thought about doing a non-selling stream. It's just me on TikTok doing my thing. I'm on camera and it's like chatting. It's just like chatting. People have questions about things like from the podcast. Like we have a topic on the podcast. We want to expand it more. That was something I was considering. But you think, I imagine
I don't know the industry enough. Like if this is working, again, don't change anything that's working. Sure. Let's add some experiments. I would start experimenting every week, a different kind of vibe for a different stream on a random day. See how it fucking goes.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what's going to hit with the audience. I cannot predict that.
For sure.
But I
know the audience.
I think that like you are literally a comedian. I think that it would make sense for you to be
on camera,
not behind the scenes,
and not just on the podcast.
Yeah,
like other forms. I'm also I've said this to the audience. We had this is just for my Damaged Cards brand. It's related but technically separate. A YouTube channel like me vending, me like straight up like POV style behind the scenes. We filmed 2 of them. We put a halt on it, honestly, just because of time and just money and blah, blah, blah. So that would be a step coming in the future, too, when we have...
I think, again, don't go off all these other platforms. Don't do it. It's like, where it's working. You already have the audience there. Like, build within that ecosystem.
Which would be TikTok. As in make content for TikTok. That fuels towards the stream. Because everything, like, once you, again, like, you guys are doing really well, but... let's get it fucking pumping to a point where it's like unmanageably pumping. And then we can start to think about longevity of personal brands and like building that out on other infrastructures. So then if I have an idea of making content of me behind the scenes at the shows and I'm doing deals or whatever, great. Clip. Just don't even worry about the long form. Put it on TikTok. Don't even make the 20-minute long form or whatever.
Make it so you can cut it.
Sure.
But I mean, if you want somebody to post it. But like,
but that's not the point.
Your energy should be 100% on capitalizing on where the monetization is happening,
which is TikTok. Yeah. And when you say where it's happening for us, not even so much the views we're getting on social media. You mean like, dude, fuck all that noise. The thing that's happening for you is the stream.
Yes.
I see.
We're drawing attention to the stream. This is the funnel. Everything else is a funnel. If you're already on platform, become the biggest. Go from 20 to 10. Be number 10.
But bring him to the fucking stream.
Yeah. And
so
then once you get to a point, when you get to
you go.
You get to a fucking point where you're like, oh shit, now like this is unsustainable because we have so much money, capital. Let's build it out, and we have to think longevity wise. Like you're in a moment, capture the fucking moment. Once you get to a point, it's like, okay, this is like within 30% range of our peak moment. Now let's start building out the infrastructure more broadly about us as creators and building it out.
So even with we've had a little bit of baby success on the podcast on YouTube and Spotify. That's all fine and dandy. Don't put resources towards that. Just keep rocking with it. Funnel everything TikTok.
Yes, yeah. And like I would keep booking the studio and working with us for sure. But but like attention resources. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
and obviously post even more on TikTok. I have my damaged cards page, and we do the stream on Bubba's page. Obviously, whatever, just funnel them to Bubba's page for the stream. Yeah, because life. How do I say this? Right now we have our 2 streams, and we're very happy. Technically, if there's a world to build that out where it's bigger than it is now, that would be pretty freaking insane. That would be amazing. So. On that note, guys, if you're watching, go to Bubba Cards, which it was CharizardBaba. Now it looks like we're making a brand switch to Bubba Cards. Bubba Cards TikTok, where we do the stream Friday and Saturday. Friday is modern. Saturday is vintage. Follow the podcast here. Of course, like, subscribe, and everything for Sky King's Mental Playground.
Buy some clothes.
Buy the Edo Punk clothes. I have them at home. I wear them now all the time. Those are my only sweatshirts that I wear. Now it's 85 degrees, so I can't really wear them right now, but I will be so excited to wear them when it gets cold. Anything else did you want to say, plug anything at all?
Just be super aware of what you spend your time on, your attention. Like, your attention creates your reality. So lock in on what you actually care about. Decide for yourself.
I completely agree. And buy Pokemon cards. Am I right?
Definitely.
I love it. Okay, guys. You're our first guest, by the way. First guest for the pod ever. So thank you for doing it. My man. I'll see you, stud.
Hell yeah.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. See you.